The great hall of the Krill Dominion pulsed with a low, thrumming energy. Holographic projections flickered across the vast chamber, displaying sensor readings, strategic maps, and the faces of 1,000 Krill dignitaries, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the cold light. The air hung thick with anticipation, a suffocating blend of fear and morbid curiosity. For cycles, the Krill had held dominion over this sector of the galaxy, unchallenged, supreme. Until now. Now a new species had emerged, a species that defied all known parameters, a species from a world shrouded in myth and whispered prophecy. Earth. Grand Overseer Xyler, his carapace scarred from 100 campaigns, addressed the assembly. His voice, amplified by the chamber's intricate acoustics, resonated with authority. For millennia, we have charted the stars, mapped the nebulae, and classified every sentient race within our reach. We have maintained order, enforced compliance, and ensured the stability of our dominion. We believed ourselves to be the apex, the culmination of galactic evolution. Now these humans challenge that belief. Their technology is primitive, their culture illogical, their history chaotic. Yet they possess something we cannot quantify, something unsettling. A wave of murmurs rippled through the assembly. The humans, a species barely capable of interstellar travel, yet their vessels moved with an unnatural agility, their weapons possessed a destructive potential far exceeding their technological capacity. Reports from the scouting fleets spoke of human resilience, a refusal to surrender even in the face of overwhelming odds. Their tactics were unpredictable, their strategies baffling. They were a paradox, a contradiction in the established order of the galaxy. Counselor Zalera, a renowned strategist and a voice of caution, stepped forward. Grand Overseer, the initial reports were dismissed as anomalies, isolated incidents of luck and circumstance. But the pattern is now undeniable. Human vessels have consistently outperformed our own in simulated combat scenarios. Their energy weapons, while less refined, possess a raw power that disrupts our shield matrices. Their strategic thinking, it is unlike anything we have encountered. It is intuitive. Intuition. The Krill valued logic above all else. Their society was built on a foundation of reason and calculated efficiency. Intuition was a weakness, a flaw in the decision-making process. Yet these humans, with their flawed logic and chaotic culture, seemed to thrive on it. It was as if they could anticipate the Krill's every move, preempting their strategies with an uncanny accuracy. The Grand Overseer turned his gaze towards a holographic display showcasing a recording of a recent engagement. A Krill cruiser, a vessel of immense power and advanced technology, was engaged in combat with a human frigate. The frigate, smaller and less heavily armed, danced around the cruiser, evading its energy blasts with impossible maneuvers. It launched a series of kinetic projectiles, simple but devastating, that pierced the cruiser's shields and crippled its engines. Their kinetic weaponry, Xyler said, his voice laced with a hint of unease. It is archaic, yet they employ it with a precision that defies our calculations. Our sensor arrays detect the launch sequence, the trajectory, but we cannot predict the impact point with certainty. It is as if they are guiding them with their minds. The possibility was absurd. The Krill had long dismissed the concept of psionic abilities as a primitive superstition. Yet the evidence before them was undeniable. The humans possessed some unknown advantage, some hidden potential that defied all known laws of physics. Counselor Varkin, a staunch traditionalist and a proponent of aggressive expansion, scoffed. Grand Overseer, we are allowing fear to cloud our judgment. These humans are a minor threat, an insignificant obstacle on our path to galactic dominance. We possess the superior technology, the superior numbers. We simply need to crush them with the full force of our military might. A swift and decisive victory will send a message to the rest of the galaxy, a reminder of the Krill's unwavering power. Xyler considered Varkin's words. A swift and decisive victory. It was the Krill way, but something held him back. A nagging doubt, a sense of unease that he could not shake. The humans were not like the other species they had encountered. They were different, unpredictable, dangerous. Counselor Varkin, Xyler said, his voice firm. I appreciate your confidence, but I cannot endorse a full-scale military assault at this time. The risks are too great. We do not fully understand their capabilities, their motivations. We need more information. I am authorizing a diplomatic mission. We will attempt to establish communication with the humans to understand their intentions. Perhaps a peaceful coexistence is possible. A collective gasp filled the Great Hall. Diplomacy with the humans? It was unheard of. The Krill were conquerors, not diplomats, but Xyler's decision was final. The fate of the Krill Dominion, perhaps even the fate of the galaxy, hung in the balance. Aboard the human vessel Dauntless, Captain Eva Rostova stared out at the swirling nebula that lay before them. The Krill. For months, they had been probing the edges of human space, testing their defenses, studying their weaknesses. Rostova knew that a confrontation was inevitable. The Krill were a predatory species, driven by an insatiable hunger for conquest. They would not be content with peaceful coexistence. They would seek to dominate, to control. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Kenji Tanaka, his voice calm and professional. "We are receiving a communication from a Krill vessel. They are requesting a meeting." Rostova turned from the viewport, her expression unreadable. A meeting? It was a surprise. The Krill were not known for their diplomatic overtures. "Patch them through, Commander," she said. "But maintain a state of readiness. This could be a trap." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying the image of a Krill officer, his chitinous face impassive. His mandibles clicked as he spoke, his voice translated by the ship's universal translator. "Greetings, humans. I am Commander Thrax of the Krill Dominion. I have been authorized to initiate diplomatic contact with your species. We propose a meeting to discuss matters of mutual interest." Rostova studied the Krill officer, searching for any sign of deception. His expression remained neutral, but Rostova sensed a hint of apprehension in his eyes. The Krill were not as confident as they appeared. They were afraid. "Commander Thrax," Rostova replied, her voice steady, "I am Captain Eva Rostova of the human vessel Dauntless. We are willing to meet with you. Designate a location and a time." Thrax hesitated for a moment, then responded. "We propose a neutral location, a planetoid designated LX-47. We will arrive within the next cycle." "We accept your proposal, Commander," Rostova said. "We will see you there." The transmission ended. Rostova turned to Tanaka. "Prepare a shuttle, Commander," she said. "I will be attending this meeting personally." Tanaka raised an eyebrow. "Captain, with all due respect, I advise against it. This could be a trap. Allow me to lead the delegation." Rostova shook her head. "No, Commander, this is too important. I need to be there. I need to see them to understand them, and they need to see me. They need to understand that we are not afraid." LX-47 was a desolate rock, devoid of atmosphere and life. A Krill cruiser hung in orbit, its menacing silhouette casting a long shadow across the planetoid's surface. Rostova's shuttle landed smoothly near a predesignated landing zone. She disembarked, accompanied by 2 armed guards. Commander Thrax awaited her, flanked by his own contingent of Krill soldiers. The air was cold and thin, and Rostova could feel the weight of the Krill's gaze upon her. "Captain Rostova," Thrax said, his voice echoing in the vacuum. "Welcome to LX-47. "Commander Thrax," Rostova replied, her voice calm and even. "Thank you for inviting us." Thrax gestured towards a small, prefabricated structure that had been erected nearby. "Please, Captain, let us proceed to the meeting room." The meeting room was Spartan and functional. A large table dominated the center of the room, surrounded by chairs. Rostova and Thrax took their seats, their guards standing behind them. "Captain," Thrax began, his voice formal. "The Krill Dominion has observed your species for some time. We are intrigued by your capabilities. Your technology is relatively primitive, yet you have proven to be a formidable opponent. We seek to understand your intentions. What do you want?" Rostova paused for a moment, choosing her words carefully. "Commander," she said, "we want peace. We want to coexist with the other species in this galaxy. We do not seek to conquer or dominate. We simply want to be left alone." Thrax scoffed. "Peace, coexistence? These are naive aspirations, Captain. The galaxy is a harsh and unforgiving place. Only the strong survive. The Krill Dominion has maintained order in this sector for millennia. We will not allow your species to disrupt the balance." "The balance," Rostova said, raising an eyebrow. "Or your dominance? The Krill have built their empire on conquest and oppression. You have enslaved countless species, exploited their resources, and extinguished their cultures. Is that the balance you seek to maintain?" Thrax's mandibles clicked angrily. "The Krill Dominion has brought stability and prosperity to this sector. We have eliminated chaos and conflict. We have provided order and security. The species under our protection thrive under our rule." "Thrive," Rostova said, her voice laced with sarcasm. "Or survive? Your subjects live in fear, Commander. They are forced to serve your interests, to sacrifice their own desires for the glory of the Krill Dominion. That is not prosperity. That is slavery." Thrax stood up, his eyes blazing with anger. You dare to insult the Krill Dominion, Captain? You are in a precarious position. We could crush you at any moment. We could wipe your species from the face of the galaxy. Rostova remained seated, her expression unwavering. You could, she said. But you won't. You're curious about us. You want to understand why we're so different, why we're not afraid of you. Thrax sat back down, his anger slowly subsiding. Rostova was right. The Krill could crush the humans, but it would be a Pyrrhic victory. They would lose something in the process, something they could not afford to lose. Knowledge. What do you propose, Captain? Thrax said, his voice subdued. I propose a dialogue, Commander, Rostova replied. A genuine exchange of ideas and perspectives. We need to understand each other to find common ground. Perhaps we can find a way to coexist, to build a future where peace is not just a naive aspiration, but a reality. Thrax considered Rostova's words. It was a long shot, a gamble, but it was worth a try. The Krill Dominion had nothing to lose and everything to gain. Very well, Captain, Thrax said. I am willing to engage in a dialogue, but do not mistake my willingness for weakness. The Krill Dominion will not hesitate to defend its interests. If you threaten our security, we will respond with force. I understand, Commander, Rostova said. And I assure you we have no intention of threatening your security. We simply want to be left alone. But if you attack us, we will defend ourselves, and you will find that we are not as weak as you think. The dialogue between the humans and the Krill began cautiously, tentatively. Representatives from both sides met regularly, exchanging information, sharing perspectives, and trying to bridge the vast cultural divide that separated them. It was a slow and arduous process, fraught with misunderstandings and disagreements. But slowly, gradually, a sense of mutual respect began to emerge. The Krill learned that the humans were not driven by conquest or domination. They were driven by a deep-seated desire for exploration and discovery. They sought to understand the universe, to unravel its mysteries, and to share their knowledge with others. They valued freedom, equality, and justice. They believed in the power of the individual, and they fought to protect the rights of all. The humans learned that the Krill were not inherently evil. They were a product of their environment, their history, and their culture. They had evolved in a harsh and unforgiving galaxy where survival depended on strength and dominance. They had learned to conquer and control, to exploit and oppress. But beneath their hardened exterior, they possessed a sense of honor, a commitment to duty, and a desire for order and stability. As the dialogue progressed, the humans began to share their technology with the Krill. They revealed the secrets of their kinetic weaponry, their advanced sensor arrays, and their revolutionary propulsion systems. The Krill were astonished by the ingenuity and sophistication of human technology. They had underestimated the humans, dismissing them as primitive and insignificant. But now they realized that the humans possessed a unique and valuable perspective, a different way of thinking that could benefit the entire galaxy. In return, the Krill shared their knowledge of the galaxy, their maps of the nebulae, their classifications of sentient species, and their understanding of the ancient civilizations that had risen and fallen throughout history. The humans were fascinated by the Krill's vast archive of knowledge. They learned about the ancient wars that had ravaged the galaxy, the rise and fall of empires, and the mysterious forces that shaped the destiny of the universe. One day, during a particularly intense session of the dialogue, a human scientist made a startling discovery. He had been studying the Krill's database of ancient civilizations when he stumbled upon a reference to a species that had vanished from the galaxy millennia ago, a species known as the progenitors. The progenitors were said to have been the first sentient race in the galaxy, the creators of all life. They had possessed unimaginable power and advanced technology. They had built vast megastructures that spanned entire star systems. They had mastered the secrets of the universe. But then, they had disappeared, leaving behind only fragments of their civilization scattered across the galaxy. The human scientist was convinced that the progenitors had not simply vanished. He believed that they had ascended to a higher plane of existence, that they had transcended the limitations of their physical form and merged with the fabric of the universe. He believed that they were still out there, watching, waiting, perhaps even guiding the destiny of the galaxy. The Krill were skeptical of the human scientist's theory. They dismissed it as a fanciful speculation, a product of human imagination. But the humans were undeterred. They began to search for evidence of the progenitors, to explore the ancient ruins, to decipher the cryptic messages that they had left behind. And then they found it, a signal, A faint, intermittent signal emanating from the edge of the galaxy, a signal that had been hidden for millennia, a signal that could only have been sent by the progenitors. The discovery of the progenitor signal sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The humans and the Krill, once enemies, now united in a common purpose, began to prepare for a journey to the edge of the galaxy, to the source of the signal. They assembled a fleet of their most advanced vessels, a testament to their newfound alliance. As the fleet prepared to depart, Captain Rostova stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, gazing out at the stars. She knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with danger. They would face unknown threats, encounter unimaginable challenges, but she was not afraid. She had faith in the humans, in the Krill, in the power of unity and cooperation. "Captain," said Commander Tanaka, approaching her, "we are ready to depart." Rostova turned to Tanaka, her expression determined. "Then let us begin, Commander," she said. "Let us discover the truth about the progenitors. Let us shape the destiny of the galaxy." The fleet warped into hyperspace, leaving behind the familiar stars of their home systems. They were embarking on a journey into the unknown, a journey that would test their limits, challenge their beliefs, and ultimately reveal the true potential of humanity. Weeks turned into months as the joint human-Krill fleet journeyed toward the signal's source. Tensions ran high, the vastness of space and the uncertainty of what awaited them pressing down on every crew member. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they arrived at the designated coordinates. What they found wasn't a planet or a star system, but a structure unlike anything they had ever encountered. A colossal megastructure, dwarfing even the largest Krill warships, stretched across light years, a testament to the progenitor's unimaginable power. It was a Dyson sphere, but not one enclosing a star. Instead, it surrounded a black hole, drawing energy from its event horizon. As the fleet approached, the megastructure pulsed with energy, and a holographic projection flickered into existence. A figure, humanoid in shape but radiating an ethereal light, materialized before them. "Greetings, children of the galaxy," the figure said, its voice resonating with ancient wisdom. "We are the progenitors. We have been watching you, guiding you, waiting for you to reach this point." Rostova stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. "Progenitors," she said, her voice filled with awe. "Why have you called us here?" "We have called you here because the galaxy is in danger," the progenitor replied. "A threat looms, a cosmic entity that seeks to consume all life, to extinguish the light of consciousness. We have been holding it back for millennia, but our power is waning. We need your help." A wave of fear washed over the fleet. A cosmic entity, a threat to all life. The implications were staggering. "What can we do?" Rostova asked, her voice trembling. "You possess a unique quality, a spark of innovation and resilience that we have not seen in any other species," the progenitor said. "You have the potential to unite the galaxy, to overcome your differences, and to stand against the darkness. We will give you the knowledge, the technology, and the power to fight, but it is up to you to choose your destiny." The progenitor extended its hand, and a beam of energy enveloped the Dauntless. Rostova felt a surge of power coursing through her veins, a flood of knowledge entering her mind. She saw visions of ancient battles, of cosmic horrors, of the progenitor's sacrifices. When the energy subsided, Rostova knew what she had to do. She turned to Thrax, who was watching her with a mixture of awe and apprehension. "Commander," she said, her voice filled with newfound determination, "we have a galaxy to save." The humans and the Krill, now allies in a true sense, spread the word of the progenitor's warning. They reached out to every sentient species in the galaxy, urging them to unite against the common enemy. Some were skeptical, some were afraid, but many answered the call. A grand alliance was formed, a coalition of diverse species, each contributing their unique strengths and resources to the cause. The humans provided their tactical brilliance and innovative technology, the Krill their military prowess and strategic expertise. Other species offered their scientific knowledge, their cultural insights, and their unwavering support. Together, they prepared for the coming storm. They built new weapons, developed new defenses, and trained their warriors for the ultimate battle. They studied the progenitor's knowledge, learning about the cosmic entity's weaknesses and vulnerabilities. The day of reckoning arrived. The cosmic entity emerged from the void, a swirling mass of darkness and destruction. It unleashed its power upon the galaxy, consuming entire star systems, annihilating all life in its path. The Grand Alliance stood firm. They met the entity's onslaught with a coordinated defense, using every weapon at their disposal. The battle raged for cycles, a cosmic war that threatened to tear the galaxy apart. Rostova led the charge, piloting the Dauntless through the heart of the conflict. She used her newfound knowledge of the progenitor's technology to disrupt the entity's energy fields, creating openings for the Alliance's fighters. Thrax commanded the Krill fleet, coordinating their attacks with precision and skill. He used his knowledge of the entity's weaknesses to exploit its vulnerabilities, inflicting heavy damage. The battle was long and arduous, but the Grand Alliance never wavered. They fought with courage, determination, and an unwavering belief in their cause. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they found their opportunity. Rostova, using the progenitor's technology, created a concentrated beam of energy that struck the entity at its core. The entity screamed in agony, its form dissolving into particles of light. It was defeated. The galaxy was saved. In the aftermath of the battle, the Grand Alliance celebrated their victory. They had faced the ultimate test, and they had emerged triumphant. They had proven that unity, cooperation, and an unwavering belief in the power of good could overcome even the darkest of forces. The humans and the Krill, once enemies, now stood side by side, their alliance forged in the fires of conflict. They had learned to respect each other, to understand each other, and to value each other's unique contributions. Rostova and Thrax stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, gazing out at the newly restored galaxy. "We did it, Commander," Rostova said, her voice filled with emotion. "We saved the galaxy." "We did it together, Captain," Thrax replied, his voice filled with respect. The humans and the Krill united in a common cause. They had not only saved the galaxy, but they had also ushered in a new era of peace and prosperity. The Grand Alliance remained intact, dedicated to maintaining order and security in the galaxy. They established new trade routes, shared their knowledge and technology, and promoted cultural exchange. The humans and the Krill became the cornerstones of this new galactic order, their alliance a symbol of hope and unity for all sentient species. They had learned from their past mistakes, and they were determined to build a better future for all. But their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast and unexplored, filled with countless mysteries and untold wonders. The humans and the Krill, along with their allies, were eager to explore these new frontiers, to discover new civilizations, and to push the boundaries of knowledge and understanding. As Rostova looked out at the stars, she felt a sense of hope and excitement. The future was uncertain, but she knew that the humans and the Krill together could face any challenge that came their way. They had proven their strength, their resilience, and their unwavering commitment to the ideals of peace, justice, and freedom. They were ready to embrace the future, to shape their destiny, and to become the guardians of the galaxy. Then an anomaly appeared on the sensors, a single vessel drifting in the void, emitting a strange, rhythmic pulse. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Scans revealed it to be of an unknown construction, far predating even the progenitors. As they approached, a message was received, not in any language they knew, but conveyed directly into their minds, a feeling, a concept. "Beware, the cycle begins again." A wave of fear washed over Rostova. The cosmic entity, though defeated, had warned of a cycle of destruction and rebirth. Were they doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? Thrax, sensing her fear, placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will face it together, Captain," he said. "Whatever the future holds, we will not falter." Rostova looked into his eyes, seeing the unwavering determination that had defined their alliance. She knew that he was right. They had come too far to give up now. "Then let us prepare, Commander," she said, her voice filled with resolve. "Let us break the cycle." As the Dauntless turned towards the unknown vessel, a new chapter began, a new challenge to overcome. The galaxy was vast and the future was uncertain, but the humans and the Krill, united in their purpose, were ready to face whatever lay ahead. For they knew that even in the face of ultimate darkness, there was always hope, and hope, they had learned, was the most powerful weapon of all. They were not the first to encounter Earth, but they would be the ones to ensure its future and the future of the galaxy together.